I think it's safe to say we all want to live an exciting life. But an exciting life doesn't just happen because we want it to. An exciting life happens because we make it happen. So today, I would like to teach you how to live an exciting life for the rest of your life. You may not remember this, but we were all once a curious kid. In our quest to find out what this world is like, we ask questions like, why is the sky blue? Or why is water wet? Did you know that the average 5-year-old will ask more than 300 questions a day? And it's amazing because us as educators and parents, we answer like 100 of them. And then after the maybe 150, we resort to the most common answer, because I said so. When my kids were young, they would ask me questions like, Mom, do you think there will be breaking news tonight? Mom, if I eat this whole bag of carrots, will I be able to see in the dark? One of my kids once asked me, Mom, how come you know everything? That was my smartest kid. Curiosity is something that we really need to encourage ourselves to do. We need to keep asking questions. We need to keep answering questions and looking forward in life. This right here is a rock or a piece of cement. It may not seem like much to you, but to me it represents bravery, it represents freedom, it represents new beginnings, but it also represents a barrier. After college, my cousin and I traveled to Europe by backpack. It was 1990, and we were so curious to see what was happening in the new world that we wanted to go take a look. Let me tell you what, the Oktoberfest was a blast. I like to equate it to a fair on steroids. Big rides, big pretzels, and yes, the beer, even bigger. It was a great time. I tell you what, the French Riviera was fantastic. The Monte Carlo, even more glamorous than you'd see on TV. But the aspiring journalist in me wanted to go there for something else. You see, in Germany, the Berlin Wall had just come down. Ladies and gentlemen, this right here is a piece of the Berlin Wall. For the past 28 years, when the Berlin Wall was up, it held people in communism. It deprived them of the free world. And in some instances, if that wall came up and your family was on the other side, you didn't get to see them. There were so many things happening there that I had to go see it. I'll never forget this. The train stopped, and in a language I did not speak or understand, the German conductor said, Berlin. And that's how I knew I'd made it to my destination. From that point on, there was no stepping back. I had to move forward. I had to keep going, and there was a gloom in the air. I remember the crunching of broken glass as I walked through Checkpoint Charlie. I remember how gray it was. This was all destroyed. I mean, it looked like a war-torn area. This rock represents my freedom. This rock represents my bravery and my new beginnings, just like it did those bound by communism for all those years. You know, we can imprison ourselves by a wall like this. We can become complacent and sometimes fearful, or sometimes just sheer lazy. That's why we need to keep moving forward if we want to live a curious life. If you're 25 years or younger, you've never lived with images unlike these. You're used to it, believe it or not. These images can cause people to be fearful, to not step outside their comfort zone, to stay in an area that just feels secure. But did you know that your odds of being in a terrorist attack are 1 in 20 million? Pretty much slim to none. If you want to stay curious, you need to stay engaged. You need to keep learning and not depending on technology to do that. We all love to Google. We all love technology, and I can say the same for myself. We all like to know what's going on, but it's our real true experiences of actually getting out there and seeing things for ourselves that we realize, I have an opinion. I now know what that feels like. I know what that food tastes like. I know what it's like to be present in my everyday world. Well, this January, my son and I like to tell my sons, I have 2 of them, I like to tell them, I like to give you experiences. I don't want to buy you things. I want you to experience what this world is all about. So this January, we'll go to Washington, D.C. to see our new president be inaugurated. I've never been to Washington, D.C. before, and I'm super excited to do that, but also just to take in the history and the culture of what's going on around us, and to once again see history in the making. We're really looking forward to that. But for the past 25 years of my life, after I'd come home from Europe, I was a business major when I graduated, but it was that trip that told me, Steph, you could do anything you want. You just walked through the Berlin Wall. You just saw, you went outside your comfort zone. So my heart, my curious mind, and my courage led me to where I am today. For the past 25 years, I've been a member of the media. I've interviewed presidents of the United States. I've interviewed Olympic gold medalists. I've interviewed generals to Saddam Hussein, villains and heroes. I've covered events like the Super Bowl and the Grammys. But it doesn't take being a journalist to have that curious mind. What it takes is courage. According to Psychology Today, they say that curious people find a greater sense of meaning in life. Step outside of your comfort zone for a while. So, this is what I'd like to do for you today. I decided to go all the way back to elementary school, and in our ABCs, I created a curious life for you. So, A is adventure. What adventure would you like to go on? Write it down. Take it one step further. Write it down, put a date to it, and strive to get to where you want to go. An adventurous life is a fun life. I am training for a half Ironman that'll take place a month before my 50th birthday. So on June 26th, I'll take my body to a place it's never been, never seen before, and I'm going to push myself harder than I possibly can. But of course, to get there, I have to plan. And to do that, I've got to run longer than I've ever run in my life. I need to bike farther than I've ever ridden in my life, and I need to swim. That's going to be the hard one, swimming that long. But create it. What's yours? Skydiving? Have you ever given it a shot? Save up money every single month, and then take that leap of faith. B is behavior. You know, sometimes we need to check ourselves, and I'm just so guilty for this. You know, we get into our phones, we get into technology, we ignore the things around us, but our behavior says so much about us. Face-to-face is the best. And you know what? You applauded us, every one of you. I applaud you for coming today. I applaud you for being here and for hopefully learning and being excited and curious. So thank you so much. Behavior is something that we should all be aware of. In that same study in Psychology Today, it says if you're curious about something, it actually acts as a positive counterweight. So if you deal with fear and anxiety, plan something. It'll give you something to look forward to. It won't wipe out doubt or fear altogether, but you know what? It's a great start. And C is communicate. You know, it's something that we have too much of, in my opinion. We used to just have the phone and face-to-face, and now we have all these gadgets around us. But communicate, speak your mind, tell other people the goals that you have to get to where you want to be. If you're shy, take baby steps. It's okay. Maybe you can ask a friend to come along with you. I love this saying. You create a habit, and eventually that habit will create you. You know, they say curious people tend to be highly self-motivated. This world is 4.55 billion years old. If you think there's nothing to do, think again. It is so old. We have so many great things to see, and we are privileged and blessed to live where we live today. I'll leave you with this. Be bold and courageous. And now I'll add curious. When you look back on your life, you'll regret the things you didn't do more than the ones you did do. And don't forget, keep that curious kid inside of you alive. Thank you.